one point, she was taking as many as 17 prescription drugs for pain. Now she just takes her heart medicine and a medical marijuana cocktail twice daily. Mabel didn't like the idea of medical marijuana.
Oh boy, I thought that was horrible.
After seeing media reports of her out at the nursing home.
If I'm something with certain, I'll take. And that's just what I'm doing.
Mabel says she's far more lucid now that she's around the block. But Mabel's primary care physician expressed concern that medical marijuana would complicate her conditions. In a letter to Mabel, he said if she continued marijuana use, he would have no choice but to dismiss her.
Physician willing to recommend. Unfortunately, a number of physicians in the state are restricted from providing a recommendation to their normal patients because of where they're currently
Mabel
employed.
says she's just happy to be herself.
Well, the push to legalize marijuana appears to be gaining some momentum, and it's not just hippies hopping on the bandwagon. Our next guest is a Republican activist and married mother of two, and that she is arguing that marijuana legalization is a conservative issue. Jessica Corey is a former press secretary for a Republican member of the Senate and was named one of Colorado's most influential professional women. She joins us now live from Denver. Jessica, welcome to you. I got to ask you first question, why take on this particular fight?
Thank you. Well, I'm a lifelong Republican, and as a mother of two, I believe we as a party have failed to uphold our commitment to individual rights and responsibility. If somebody wants to smoke marijuana or if they want to consume too many cheeseburgers, that's their right. And I, as a taxpayer, don't think I should have to fund a prohibition against that behavior, nor should I be responsible for the repercussions that come upon that person personally.
All right, let me ask you though, cheeseburgers not impaired when you eat those, but if you smoke pot and get behind the wheel of a car, that's a different situation. Are you putting them on the same playing field?
Well, I would never advocate being intoxicated with marijuana when driving, and I don't think anybody who's part of this growing nonpartisan movement to legalize marijuana would say that. But in fact, we would say that obesity, alcohol, cigarettes, all things that are legal are far more dangerous than marijuana. And as a mom, I look at such key emerging science, which our government has neglected over the last decade. It shows that alcohol has a far more detrimental effect on juvenile brain development than marijuana ever will. Marijuana doesn't kill people. Marijuana doesn't make people violent. And in my own state of Colorado, like 14 other states in the United States, we see that prescription drugs are the #1 killer now, more than accidental car deaths. So we need to refocus our priorities. And for so long, marijuana has been villainized and been the boogeyman. But the science shows that it is actually much safer. And our public policy priorities in these incredibly difficult fiscal times should reflect these realities.
All right, Jessica, we are talking about a mind-altering substance, marijuana, as well as alcohol as well. But, and I understand that conservatives feel like you should make your own decisions and have your own responsibilities and repercussions, but where do you draw the line to somebody who's going to say, I'm going to shoot up heroin, but I'm only going to stay in my house and I'm not going to get behind the wheel of a car or affect somebody else? I mean, when we're talking about something that alters your mind and your ability to make good judgments, where do you draw the line?
Well, I think in these difficult economic times, we can have philosophical debates about where to draw that line. But what's more important and what we should be doing today is looking at every line item on our budget. And marijuana needs to be at the top of the list for that debate. We know that marijuana alters the mind just as alcohol and other drugs do. But is it worth it to send 850,000 Americans into our criminal justice system every year because they're smoking a substance far less dangerous than alcohol? Is it worth it to spend $30,000 a year per drug offender in this country to put them behind bars? Meanwhile, we have violent, real criminals being let out of our prisons because they're bursting at the seams. We spend three times the amount on incarcerating individuals than we do on educating the average American student. So while we can have that conversation another day about heroin or far more serious drugs, for today, our priority needs to be on ending the generational child abuse that has become our federal deficit. My girls deserve better than a government that is going to bankrupt them over marijuana. And I'm not going to stand here, or sit here rather, and take that easily.
All right, Jessica Corey, a very interesting debate. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
They are professionals, Grant and Stu.
Alcohol, binge drinking, things like that on our campuses are killing kids every single day. Alternative legal kids on campuses, they would choose.
If students were given the option marijuana, instead of alcohol, that hopefully a lot of the violence on
There
campus
are still health and impairment women now support marijuana legalization at the same level for very different
As a
reasons.
mother of two, I know this, that marijuana prohibition will cause far greater harm to my family and to the future of my children.
Arrested or ticketed for
than any
marijuana,
consumption of
you know, they can lose their children to social services. They can, you know, lose all of their
They
financial.
say it's time to stop government money in marijuana.
Key to this movement is, of course, the legislative side. It's, of course, getting mothers and daughters and people talking about, you know, the medicinal aspects of it. But more importantly,
using
it
marijuana, and I
begins
promptly
at
put
home.
him into rehab.
Can you tell me what school's like for you, Sam? Titanic! Penguin!
This is Sam, a 10-year-old who lives with his dad, his mom, and his sister Lucy in Northern California. Sam has autism. From age 2 till 8, Sam's disorder made him violent and aggressive. His parents, Steve and Angela, were truly living a nightmare.
In public places, a lot of times we'd be, say, in line at a store, and he would just instantly just bolt off and go and hit another child in the face.
One time he pulled the TV down, he knocked over all the furniture. I mean, and I had to put him in a hold for maybe an hour. I mean, just where his whole body was spasming. It was just, I would just lay there crying, just holding him.
Sam's parents worked with expert doctors who recommended a succession of conventional prescription medications like Risperdal and a host of others. But Sam just gained 20 pounds and became harder to handle.
We were so scared. We were like, okay, he's getting more dangerous. He's getting bigger and stronger now that he's 20 pounds bigger from the Risperdal.
The child that we had grown to love was gone. It was just like when you looked at him, when you talked to him, he had just disappeared.
Yeah.
Finally at their wits' end and faced with the very real prospect of needing to institutionalize their son, Sam's parents decided to try something unconventional and controversial. Last year, they began treating
This is very
Sam.
calming.
So this is the medicine right here. Steve and Angela got a recommendation from a medical cannabis doctor. They told Sam's pediatrician about their plan, and Steve grew Sam's new medicine in their backyard.
We had 6 plants here.
This is where Steve took out his tomato plants to grow and then harvest the cannabis. From the marijuana flowers, he could make a concentrated form, what people refer to as hash. This ball represents roughly 4 months of doses for Sam.
So I just take my lighter.
Steve softens the cannabis with heat, then takes what appears to be just a speck of pot, Sam's dose for the day.
We just wanted to see if it would work at all, and it was just an amazing experience. I mean, I'll never forget it. To watch what happened to him, it was just like, and this pent-up rage and this, obsessiveness. It's just like it just went away. Just like it just calmed him down.
Reefer madness, ladies and gentlemen, is fast becoming as obsolete as alcohol prohibition. But is that a good thing? Depends on who you ask, of course. But you recognize Eric Braden, longtime star of The Young and the Restless. Eric joins us tonight from Los Angeles. Thanks, mate. Nice to see you. So where do you stand on this controversial proposition?
So you actually use marijuana every day?
Every single day, and I will do so every day until the day I drop dead.
Before you came to the Capitol?
Yes.
Did you tell Reverend Diaz that?
No, but I spoke openly about the fact that I medicate myself, and I consider medicating. I medicate myself every morning, I medicate myself throughout the day, and I medicate myself every single evening, just the same way as anybody else does, and just the same way as I did when I got up in the morning taking the prescription medication that I was taking at inordinate amounts to keep track of the same issues that I have, and I'm using marijuana for.
So where do you get your marijuana from?
I'm a card-carrying marijuana user in 2 of the 14 states that it's legal in, and I'll plead the 5th as to how I take care of my needs where I am.
So let me ask you then, right now as we were speaking, you have already used marijuana today.
See, here's something that's so crazy about this. People don't understand the drug. If you read any information about it, go back to the 98 study that was commissioned by General McCaffrey under Bill Clinton, we proved for a fact that marijuana doesn't affect everybody the exact same way. People who have illnesses like mine that have traumatic neuropathic illness, we don't get the same euphoria that people who don't have it. A study just came out 3 months ago from the University of San Diego in California, commissioned by the government of California for 10 years. They studied marijuana, and he studied surreptitiously so nobody else could know that they were doing it, and that study came back proving unequivocally that it is one of the most efficacious drugs on the planet for the disease that I have, MS. I don't get the same euphoria that other people do. I get neuropathic pain lessening, and that's why I use it.
I've gotten thousands of new kids that wanted to know how they could get on the list for bus. I have gotten more donations than to do about once every 6 weeks, 40 or 50 dozen brownies for my kids. Bless me, come up here and bus in 2 weeks. I am going to make 60 more dozen, and I am going to give them all to my kids. And they're going to be so grateful and so thank you and so thankful that even though they don't have any money, they all try to even offer me a buck or two just to say thank you. So support us all the way. Support us 120% of the way. Turn on all your friends, all your relatives, all your grandmas and grandpas. Tell them that this war on marijuana is bullshit.
I want to thank City Council. My name is Cheryl Schumann. I'm the Executive Director for Beverly Hills NORML, the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Law. Thank you to the council that supports medical marijuana patients. I am a legal medical marijuana patient and a cancer survivor. I've spent the past 3 years having 7 surgeries and have found out recently that my tumors have spread to my liver and is inoperable. Because I am a legal medical marijuana patient, I have also found that my liver transplant will not be granted because I am a medical marijuana patient. So I stand here today as someone who's going to die because City Council and other legislative members
Hello everybody,
can't.
I hope you enjoyed and took heed to the information that was taught. You can heal the multitude. If you have any doubt, it is very simple to try. Just when you get a hold of some cannabis oil, or you happen to decide to make your own, which is on the Rick Simpson's video, the procedures, and also know to keep a big cloth soaking wet in a bucket in case some accident happens. You can instantly put out any accidents with the water. But just put it on skin cancer. Put it on somebody's diabetic ulcers, somebody's 3rd degree burns, 4th degree burns, and watch the miraculousness. Anyway, take care, my friends. God bless. And I hope each and every one of you becomes a healer with this knowledge and holds it in your heart. God bless to all of you.